All right, so folks, you're about to hear testimony regarding a statement or statements that were allegedly made by or attributed to Ms. Reed. I'm going to instruct you in more detail at the end of the case about this matter. However, I want you to understand that at this time, as the statements are offered into evidence, that before you may consider the content of any such statement made by the defendant as evidence, you're going to have to make a preliminary determination about whether or not it can be considered by you as evidence at all. In your determination at the end of the case, you're not to consider any such statement by the defendant as evidence, even though it's presented to you through a witness at trial, unless from all the evidence in the case you first determine that the Commonwealth has proved beyond a reasonable doubt that Ms. Reed made the statements she's alleged to have made, and that she made it voluntarily, freely, and rationally. All right, go ahead, Mr. Brennan.
Thank you, Your Honor. Sir, I want you to begin from when you were in the living room, your beginning conversation with the defendant, the presence of both her father and mother. You're with Mr. Proctor. Can you share with us the conversation that you had with the defendant?
Yes. She stated that she's willing to answer our questions, but she didn't want to go into too many details. That's how the conversation began. She provided us the fact that Mr. O'Keefe was hanging out with a friend of his at 5 p.m. at the One Meadows Ave residence, following which he proceeded to C.F. McCarthy's in Canton, where the defendant stated that she met him approximately at 9 p.m. She was drinking vodka sodas. Mr. O'Keefe was consuming Bud Lite beer. After C.F. McCarthy's, they proceeded to the Waterfall Grill and Bar. At this point, the defendant was asked if she brought a beverage with her from C.F. McCarthy's to the Waterfall establishment, to which she stated she didn't think so. After the Waterfall, the defendant stated that she dropped Mr. O'Keefe off at 34 Fairview. She was asked if she saw him go in the house. She stated no, she did not see him go in the house. She was asked about the damage to her rear taillight, to which she stated, quote, "I don't know how I did it last night," end quote. Once she provided us with the fact that she dropped him off and never saw him go in the house, she was asked to provide details about her leaving. She stated that she made a 3-point turn and left. She was asked to provide some explanation of how Mr. O'Keefe sustained those injuries that he had. She did not...
Let me stop you there. Did you get an answer to your question about how he sustained the injuries or the details about the 3-point turn?
No, I did not.
You mentioned that when you were at Good Samaritan Hospital, you saw blood on the back of Mr. O'Keefe's head.
Yes.
Did you ask the defendant anything about that injury?
Yes. We asked about the injuries that Mr. O'Keefe had, that he had been displaying, and whether or not he had those injuries the night prior at either McCarthy's or Waterfall, to which the defendant stated she didn't see any injuries on him. But then she provided a statement saying that Mr. O'Keefe bumped his head 2 nights prior and asked her about it, which to me seemed kind of strange. But
without the commentary. Mm-hmm. After she told you that Mr. O'Keefe had bumped his head 2 nights prior, and that he had asked about it or she had asked about it?
She stated that he had bumped his head 2 nights prior, and Mr. O'Keefe asked her about it.
Did she say when Mr. O'Keefe asked her about the bump on his head from the few nights before?
No, she did not.
Did the conversation conclude?
Yes, it did.
After the conversation concluded, what was your next step?
Once the conversation concluded, the defendant was advised that her vehicle is being seized, and her cell phone was also seized.
Were there any other items at that point that you were seizing, other than the cell phone and the vehicle?
Not from that location, no.
Did you have a warrant at that point?
We did not, no.
Did you have authority to seize items prior to having a warrant?
I'll allow that.
Well, what is the process when you want to obtain items but you don't have a warrant? What process do you go through?
We seized them to prevent any alteration, destruction of the evidence that could be contained on those items pending a warrant. They are secured. They're not touched or processed by us. The process of obtaining a warrant includes writing an affidavit justifying.
Yeah, we don't need to hear any of this part.
Understood. Understood. Did you ultimately obtain both the phone and the vehicle?
Yes, we did.
Describe how the vehicle was seized. What happened?
The defendant provided her key card. It's like a credit card size key fob for the vehicle to allow the ignition to start. It was driven onto a flatbed tow truck, secured, and then we followed it from Dighton to the Canton Police Department.
Was video ever provided that showed part of that vehicle being loaded onto the tow truck?
Yes, it was.
Have you ever reviewed that video?
Yes, I did.
When you were at Dighton and the defendant's Lexus was being put on the tow truck, about what time was that?
It was approximately 4:16, 4:15 in the afternoon on the 29th of January, 2022.
Now, you mentioned that you took a cell phone. Are there parts or people, participants on the team that handle that specific type of evidence?
Yes, we have troopers that are specialized, trained, and have expertise in digital forensic analysis, extraction, and processing of digital devices.
Is that something you do?
I am trained in certain portions of it, but I am not an expert like them.
Did you manipulate the phone in any way?
No.
Did you see Mr. Proctor manipulate the phone in any way?
I don't recall seeing that, no.
Before the vehicle was moved or during the loading of the tow, did either you or Mr. Proctor go back anywhere near that vehicle?
We were near the vehicle once it was unloaded, but we never touched it.
From the point you went in and spoke to the defendant until the vehicle was placed in the back of the flatbed, did you ever go back near the vehicle and touch it in any way?
No.
Did you ever see Mr. Proctor go back near that vehicle and touch it in any way?
No.
You mentioned that the tow was loading the vehicle, the defendant's Lexus, around 4:15.
I believe so, yes.
Did you join the tow truck driver, or did you keep your separate vehicle at that point?
We traveled in my...
I'll allow it.
I drove my vehicle and followed the tow truck back to the Canton Police Department.
Where was Mr. Proctor?
In my front passenger seat.
During that time, had you made arrangements or did you receive any information about other members of the team engaging in any searches relative to this case?
Yes, I have.
And what did you learn?
I learned that Detective Lieutenant Tully had
I'm going to allow it.
had dispatched other members of our unit to 34 Fairview and other resources from the Massachusetts State Police to assist him in a search for the missing shoe.
Do you know what time those other members arrived or began to arrive at 34 Fairview?
Objection.
You begin your travels at 4:15 p.m. back to the Canton Police Department. Why did you choose to bring the vehicle to the Canton Police Department if the Canton police detectives were not working on this case anymore?
They had a heated storage facility, being the Sally Port. We needed to preserve the vehicle as best we could away from the elements. And it was also in close proximity to our office, also to process the vehicle and get the search warrant from the local courthouse would have been more convenient for us.
Why was a heated Sally Port or a heated garage important to you?
The vehicle was impacted with snow that accumulated, and also from traveling on the highways, it was packed with a shell of snow covering the exterior of it. So it would melt away in a heated Sally Port.
Were you intending on having other resources or other team members or other units available to look at the vehicle at some point?
Yes, we were.
Who were you intending? Who did you expect would have to look at the vehicle in the future?
For one, we would have to document the exterior of it with photographs. That would be Crime Scene Services section. We would process it for fingerprints, which would be also service the Crime Scene Services section provides. We would, if needed, take swabs for DNA or other latent evidence. So that would be the chemist, as well as if the authority was there to process the internal workings, the computer chips, and the infotainment system of the vehicle. And that would be a digital forensics expert that's trained in that field.
Would an unheated garage or Sally Port impede that?
Yes.
Given that Canton Police Department was not now part of the active investigation, did you have any concerns bringing it to the Canton Police Department?
No.
You said you left Dighton at 4:15. What time approximately did you and Mr. Proctor and that Lexus arrive at the Canton heated Sally Port garage area?
We arrived at the Canton Police Department at 5:30, and the vehicle was unloaded and placed into the garage at 5:35 p.m.
Did you and Mr. Proctor go into the garage?
Yes, we did.
And in the garage, what were you doing?
We helped facilitate putting yellow.
I'm going to ask you what you were doing and then what you saw Mr. Proctor doing, rather than use we. I want to be very specific about what you did and saw. What were you doing?
I helped put up yellow caution tape around the vehicle to prevent anyone from coming near it and touching it.
Were there any other persons in that area other than you and Mr. Proctor?
There were members of the Canton Police Department.
Did you make observations of the vehicle once you had it in that Sally Port area?
Yes, I did.
You mentioned that it was packed with snow. Was the snow still on it when you brought it into the Sally Port?
Yes, there was.
Did you wipe the car down or clear
No.
the car of the snow?
No.
Did you touch the vehicle in any way with your hands?
No.
Did you ever see Mr. Proctor touch that vehicle?
No, he did not.
Objection.
I'll sustain it.
To strike.
I'll strike that. Ask you differently, Mr.
Did you ever see Michael Proctor touch that vehicle while you were in the Sally Port area?
I did not.
How long did you remain in the Sally Port area for, do you know?
We remained in the Sally Port area approximately until 5:51 and change, based on
Okay,
the
that's
best of
enough.
my memory.
After you left the Sally Port area, where did you go?
We left the Sally... I apologize.
Go ahead, if you can say first what you did and then wait for the next question, please, Sergeant.
I left the Sallyport area and proceeded inside the Canton Police Department.
Where was Mr. Proctor?
He was with me.
By your side?
Yes.
Did he ever leave your sight?
I'm sure at some point he walked away from me, but I can't. We were traveling together all day.
You went into a different part of the Canton Police Department?
Yes.
Where did you go?
Into the dispatch area, and then the conference room upstairs later on.
Why did you go up to the conference room?
The conference room was provided for us to use as a meeting location. The members of our unit that had assisted at the 34 Fairview Road scene had traveled back to Canton Police, and we were meeting there to exchange information based on what we had learned with our portions of the investigation. That way everyone's on the same page at that point.
Did you meet, is this team, is it called a CERT team?
There is a CERT team.
Do you know if the CERT team was the team that went to 34 Fairview?
Yes, I do.
Did you meet with the entire CERT team that night at the Canton Police Department, or some members?
Not the entire team, no.
When you had the meeting in that room, who did you meet with?
In that room, I specifically remember being Detective Lieutenant Tully, myself, Michael Proctor, and other members of our homicide and narcotics section assigned to the Norfolk District Attorney's Office.
Did you discuss the evidence you had to that point?
Yes.
Regarding 34 Fairview Road, did you develop or decide any plans to physically go back to that area?
Yes, I did.
And what was the plan?
The plan was to take shovels and rakes and other gardening equipment and go back to that location to excavate for additional evidence.
When did you make the decision that you were going to go back to 34 Fairview?
It was that evening.
Why did you decide you were going to go back at some point?
During the recall of all the information learned and sharing of that information with other members of our investigative team, it was realized that Mr. O'Keefe was wearing a black baseball hat, and at this point in time, that article of clothing was still missing.
Was there something impeding a full and complete investigation of the scene?
At 34 Fairview?
Yes.
Yes. The heavy, large amount of snow that had accumulated over the last 12 hours or so heavily hindered our investigation of that immediate scene.
When you were debriefed, did you learn the area where the CERT team had spent most of their time searching?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that, sir?
When you were debriefed, were you informed the area that the CERT team spent most of their time searching?
I don't recall on the specifics of it, no.